Hey there, and welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to try something a little fun today. I want you to just imagine for a second that I'm your cat. I've called you into the living room, asked you to take a seat, and I've actually put together a comprehensive slide deck for your annual performance review. Because look, while I love you, and we've got a generally good thing going on, there are a few daily habits of yours that are unwittingly causing me a massive amount of stress. So let's get right to it.
Look, first off, let's just clear the air. I absolutely want to acknowledge that you are an excellent provider. You always make sure my bowl is full, you give me a super comfortable place to sleep, you're attentive, and you are certainly not neglectful. We're on the same page there. But despite all of those really great intentions, you're still doing quite a few things completely wrong every single day without even realizing it.
Now, you're probably sitting there thinking, well, if something was really wrong, wouldn't I know? And honestly, that's exactly the problem. See, I'm not a dog. I don't whine, I don't pace around nervously, and I definitely don't wear my heart on my sleeve. I am an independent, resilient creature, which means I absorb my stress quietly. I express it in ways that are so subtle you just remain blissfully oblivious until the tension literally boils over. By the time it's actually obvious to you, trust me, it's been building up for weeks.
Okay, let's dive into this. For today's review, I've broken down your performance into 4 main categories. First up, my body, my rules. Second, lost in translation. Third, my fortress of solitude. And finally, the perfect partnership.
All right, section 1, my body, my rules. This is all about respecting my personal space.
Let's get into my very first major grievance with your daily behavior. It's about physical boundaries and, frankly, your weird obsession with forced interaction. When you pick me up out of nowhere or pull me onto your lap or squeeze me when I am very clearly trying to leave, you think that's pure affection. But my reality? It's a total loss of control over my own body. I really need you to understand that losing bodily autonomy is one of the absolute highest stressors a cat can experience. I'm not just some passive recipient for your affection, I'm an active participant. When you take away my choice, the interaction completely stops being positive. It doesn't matter how much you love me.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. I actually brought some of your own human science to back me up here. According to research from the University of Lincoln, cats respond most positively to contact around the face. The forehead, the cheeks, the base of the ears, that's where my scent glands are. That is how I initiate contact. When you just pet me endlessly down my back or along my tail, you think I'm having a great time, but half the time you're just triggering overstimulation. I'm merely tolerating it. And let's be clear, tolerance is absolutely not enjoyment.
Which brings us to a very, very critical definition, the belly. Let's get this straight right now. Presenting my belly is almost always a trap. It's a trap specifically designed to test your gullibility. It's me showing you that I feel safe. It is definitely not handing out a VIP invitation for a stomach rub. If you decide to go in and touch the belly, you do so entirely at your own risk.
So, the takeaway here is that we desperately need some new ground rules for physical touch moving forward. Number 1, let me come to you, and when I do, just meet me there. Number 2, focus your petting on my face and my ears. And number 3, actually look for active participation. Ask yourself, am I giving you a slow blink? Am I leaning into your hand? If I am, that means I'm actually enjoying it rather than just nervously waiting for you to stop.
Moving right along to section 2, lost in translation. This is all about reading my subtle signals.
Honestly, you guys are kind of terrible at understanding feline communication. Let's walk through the escalation of annoyance. You always seem so genuinely shocked when I bite or swat at you, but I promise you, a bite is never my first message. It's literally the last message sent after you've totally ignored all my previous warnings. I usually tell you I'm uncomfortable for 5 whole minutes before I ever strike. Step 1, my tail starts flicking. Step 2, you'll see the skin rippling along my back. Step 3, my ears rotate slightly backward. And step 4, my pupils start dilating. You miss every single one of these.
Oh, and here's another hilarious, yet honestly super stressful misunderstanding between us. You humans absolutely love to stare directly into my eyes from like an inch away. You think we're sharing this deep, loving, profound connection, but my reality is incredibly different. In feline communication, direct, sustained eye contact is a hostile dominance challenge. It's a literal threat signal. This is exactly why I will always reliably gravitate toward the one person in the room who is completely ignoring me. From my perspective, the person not staring a hole through my head is the safest one in the space. So if you actually want to communicate affection, take a look at this 2020 University of Sussex study. Use the slow blink. Soft eyes, slow close, slow open. In my language, that exchange translates directly to, I trust you, I am not a threat. It's infinitely more intimate than you intensely staring me down from 6 inches away.
Right, we also need to discuss discipline for a second. When you come home from work, find something knocked off the table or scratched up, and you start yelling at me or punishing me, you have to stop. I literally lack the cognitive architecture to connect a consequence to an action that happened more than a few seconds ago. When you punish me way after the fact, I don't feel guilt. I just feel total confusion. And repeated confusion in your presence, that absolutely destroys the trust we've worked so hard to build.
To quickly summarize the fixes for this whole communication breakdown. First, learn my early physical signals of annoyance, and please stop the interaction immediately the second you see them. I promise I'll actually trust you more for giving me space, not less. Start using that slow blink, and never ever correct me after the fact. If you don't catch me in the exact moment, just let it go. Address the behavior by changing my environment instead of trying to punish me.
All right, Section 3, my fortress of solitude, protecting my safe environment.
You know, as a cat, I have this deep-rooted biological need for predictability. I am really not adaptable by nature. I thrive on deep routines, the exact same feeding times, the same resting spots, the exact same daily rhythm. When breakfast is an hour late, or you randomly rearrange the living room furniture, or you have loud guests over, you just see that as a minor inconvenience. But my reality is that those disruptions cause a measurable spike in my stress hormones. To me, predictability is safety. When my environment is unpredictable, I don't know what comes next, and that uncertainty causes me genuine physiological stress.
And when that stress hits, what's my move? I retreat. I scramble up to a high shelf, squeeze under the bed, or tuck myself behind the couch. Please understand, I'm not being antisocial when I do this. This is a vital, self-regulating coping mechanism. I am managing my stress by finding a space where I feel safe and totally in control. If you block those spots, or suddenly decide to tidy them up, or close off my favorite rooms, you're literally removing my only coping mechanism. A cat with no retreat has absolutely no way to decompress, and that stress just accumulates.
So how do we fix my environment? Simple. Keep my core routines as consistent as humanly possible. If a change is absolutely unavoidable, introduce it to me gradually. And most importantly, guard my hiding spots fiercely. Do not follow me into them, and please do not try to coax me out with treats. Let me emerge entirely on my own terms. The fact that I eventually feel brave enough to come back out to you is the whole point.
Finally, Section 4, the perfect partnership, earning my deepest trust.
We've covered a lot of ground today, a lot of grievances. So let's wrap this intervention up by looking at what a truly successful dynamic between us actually looks like. I want to make this crystal clear. None of these mistakes make you a bad human. They mostly come from a place of really caring, just without having the right information. But here's the absolute truth. The cats that trust their humans the most deeply aren't the ones who are held the most, or talked to the loudest, or given constant, overwhelming attention. The deepest, most unbreakable bond goes to the humans who pay close attention to our subtle signals, respect our physical boundaries, and grant us control, predictability, and a safe retreat. That's all I've been asking for.
So as we officially close out this performance review, I leave you with a question to really think about. Which of these everyday human mistakes hit a little too close to home for you? Now that you know exactly how to give me the space and respect I need, your homework is to actually put this into practice. Because once you do, you'll be ready to learn the specific, almost magical behaviors that prove a cat hasn't just tolerated you, but has truly chosen you as their person. But, well, that's the lesson for our next explainer. Class dismissed.